So Doordash just deactivated me 2 days after I reported my... Hey guys, I just lost my job.
She said she recorded her essay. Interesting. She looks like Michael Jackson. You know, like Michael Jackson speaks with that perpetual smile. It's kind of what that's giving with the face pulled back. Like, I don't know. I know it's completely off topic. I'm sorry.
So Doordash just deactivated me 2 days after I reported my... Hey guys, I just lost my job. And they won't tell me why. They're supposed to send an email immediately after deactivation providing you the reason why and a link to appeal. And they didn't. So I contacted support and they made me sit on the phone with them for 50 minutes just to tell me that they can't tell me the reason why and I have to just go ahead and appeal without knowing why. So my chances of getting my account back, they have my money in that account. I was working. I was literally working and they deactivated me. This is related. They just punished me for posting about my sexual assault while door dashing. They just fired me. And the police are doing nothing. I lost my job. And that was my only way to make money to pay my bills. 3 days ago, October 12th.
Jesus Christ. All right. I'm a little overloaded. Okay, so there's a lot of discussions going on around this whole thing, and I feel bad that this person had to go through this. I mean, but I think there's a bigger conversation here that needs to be had that's not being had. People are going back and forth, wondering, is she in the wrong? Is the guy in the wrong? Maybe he's faking it. Maybe she opened the door further, and there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. People are sharing their thoughts.
I'm the victim! Remember? I'm the victim!
Now you might be asking, how did I get here? Why am I crashing out? Well, this all started. let me stop. So guys, this is Livy, right? And she makes a post on TikTok and says that she got SA'd during a delivery for DoorDash. Now here's the post. A man named Austin orders DoorDash, selects the option to have order left at door, sees his DoorDasher, me, he has a female. He falls asleep on the couch with his pants and underwear to his ankles and his front door wide open in 59-degree weather. So this is what I see when I have to leave the order. Now guys, I can see it. His pants are down, his thing's in his hand.
That's fucked up.
Now guys, I'm not gonna hold you. That is strange as F. This ain't the first time that we heard about something like this. This is Nautica, right? He pulled up in a drive-thru with his thingy in his hand. He must have done this before because when he pulled up at this Arizona bikini coffee shop, the girl already had the camera out. That got posted online and he unalived himself right after that. So I wouldn't be surprised that's the same thing going on here. That video, which I'm pretty sure is the original video, got deleted for obvious reasons. Now everybody freeze!
Don't worry, Derek. We're frozen. I will say that even though those are very similar creepy situations, they're not exactly the same scenario. Somebody went out in public, another person's being filmed inside of their house. And yes, because of that, he can just claim plausible deniability. The truth is, we don't know. And from what I can tell so far, the guy in the video, the TikTok video that we're discussing right now, I have no idea whether or not he actually has history of doing this. And regardless, it's still one of those things because he's inside of his house, and if he is in fact sleeping or passed out, then he ends up putting himself in a situation to claim that he is indeed the victim because this girl did film him and put him online in an embarrassing situation for which she did not have the full facts. She just felt offended by it. Rightly so, I understand, but you still filmed him inside of his home and blasted it online. Now, had it been a woman in that situation and a male DoorDasher or even a female DoorDasher, and they went in and saw a woman with her pants at her ankles, she's in her home, her toy is going, and they're like, okay. Would they have filmed it online? Who would have been in the wrong there? Had the man put it up online and claimed that he had been SA'd and share that with the entire world not knowing the full facts of the situation? What if someone drugged her? There's so many different variables. And I think for people who are actual like SA victims, at the risk of sounding insensitive, I'm not trying to, but there is a very clear difference between what happened in the video and SA. And I know people are saying, what's the point in bringing that up? It is a very important distinction to make, because there are some people who will claim that they're being SA'd by someone just looking at them and saying hello, or by saying that they're pretty. And I think it discounts all the other victims out there that actually have experienced SA. I'm one of them, so I can speak on that. And I'm not trying to undermine what she went through. She felt traumatized by that, but it is very important to make those distinctions. And what the guy in the video that Derek was talking about, when he went up to that bikini shop, that was grossly indecent and 100% intentional. And there's no doubt about it. There's no guessing. There's no guesswork involved in that whatsoever. Someone pulls up to a public place with their freaking cock in their hand, and you're like, okay, dude, what are you doing? It's very different than if the guy's house is ajar or a woman's house is ajar, and I walk in and see, like, oh no, they're in an indecent situation and they're sleeping. It's not like they're sitting there rubbing it out, staring at me, waiting for me to come to the door. Like, it is a very different situation, and I think it's important for people to point out that difference.
About my sexual assault while door dashing. They just fired me, and the police are doing nothing. I lost my job, and that was my only way to make money to pay my bill.
Now, guys, when I first saw this, I was like, damn, why would they do that?
Really? My first thought was, that's the only way you can make money? But then again, I'm the kind of person who concentrates on these random things whenever things are going on. Like, I'll watch a movie and stuff will be happening clearly in the middle, and I'm like, why is that dog just sitting at the windowsill licking itself? They couldn't cut that out of the freaking shot. Then again, that's me.
So I start thinking, the only thing that I could think of is because she filmed the guy that was naked. Now, if she only said...
I don't think that's the only thing, Derek. I think the other thing is because DoorDash doesn't want to get sued. They're not going to just go, there's so many people. And that's the thing I'm trying to tell people. Like, it is a very serious allegation when you claim that someone did something to you like that. And after the Me Too movement, it is very horrific that there are women utilizing it and weaponizing it against men that either reject them or that they don't like, and lying on them. So you can just say, as a woman, that person who was 50 miles away from me that I've never met before, he doesn't even know who I am, he SA'd me. And they'll just bring him to jail. That's what happens. As a matter of fact, there's a friend of mine, I've shared this before, but there was a friend of mine, he had a girlfriend, and she was cheating on him because she had a boyfriend in jail or whatever. And he's like, hey, you gotta get out of my apartment because... you want to go back with your husband or what have you? Sure, go ahead. And, but you can't stay here. And she's like, well, if you kick me out or you say anything, I'll just tell the cops that you threatened me with your firearms. And this guy is a vet, by the way, our friend. He's a military vet and has some, really bad PTSD. Not the violent kind. He just like spaces out sometimes. I felt really bad for him because like the sweetest person you'll ever meet. And we actually saw this happening. We saw how she treated him. And he's like, seriously? And he's like, fine, go ahead. Because I guess he didn't expect, that the outcome that happened. And the cops came to his door and he told them, hey, this is what happened. I didn't. And the cops were like, dude, we believe you based on her track record. We believe you. Unfortunately, when a woman, they didn't say when a woman, but they were saying it's her word against yours. And unfortunately, the way these things go, they have to take her word. The police admitted to him that they knew he was telling the truth. And they were like, it sucks, but you're going to have to get your firearms taken away and go to jail. And we're like, what? Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Maybe, I don't know. Hopefully in the future, it'll find you where things like that happen. But it's so crazy how people could just make things up against people that they don't like to manipulate their way and have that happen. I'm not saying that's what the girl who works for DoorDash is doing, but you can understand why DoorDash would probably have some consternations about just jumping on a paying customer and accusing them of something when they don't have all the facts, when people literally do this.
I wouldn't understand, but she also posted it on TikTok. And that has to go against some kind of DoorDash guidelines. That could be a bad look for DoorDash. Like, imagine, yo, DoorDash, it seems like your employees are posting me online naked. You know, another thing that I was thinking, if I was supposed to just leave the food at the door, I would just leave it at the door and walk away. I don't know, I would be like, whoa, this is weird as F, on God. But then I'm walking away. Not only that, okay guys, I have to do this, devil's advocate. He ordered DoorDash for a reason. He could be drunk or whatever he's off of. We'll never know. Also, if a man did this, like, you know, took a video of a naked girl passed out while he was doing a DoorDash order, then posted on TikTok, I feel like there would be some outrage.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you. Thank you. Good Lord, look at that mug, bro. What is going on? What in the Ireland? So a lot of people are agreeing. They're like, okay, look, there's some decent people out there, because the thing is, you don't know. The truth is, if the guy said no contact, what if he was drunk? What if something just happened? There's so many things you don't know. There's so many variables. Are there creeps out there? Yes. You don't know for certain with the lack of variables or substantial facts to make that decision about this person. And it comes off as you just wanting to be the victim. I cannot do that face right now. Like,
DoorDash for a reason.
Yeah, it does come off like this person. It does come off like you're trying to be a victim. And see, other people are saying the same thing. Someone else said, think of it this way. A girl gets back from the bar, blackout drunk, and orders food, thinks she shut the door all the way because she blackout drunk, takes off her pants to get to something more comfortable, lays on the couch and passes out. Then a male driver doesn't leave food at the door, instead looks inside, sees half-naked girl fully knocked out. So he gets a great idea and decides to take a video of her half naked asleep and post it online for the whole world to see. Now who's the victim? Exactly. Thank you. Some people have some sense. There are people out there who are so ready to make the guy who is clearly the victim in the situation, regardless of he's fake sleeping or not. You don't know that, because there are cases where people can be, he could have had a seizure in the middle of his thing. He's like, okay, I'll just wank one out real quick so that when I get my food, I can go to sleep. All of us have done that. And it sucks. Yeah, you put yourself in that situation, but you're literally in your own home. And then imagine someone not leaving the food just at the door. And if the door is half open, the first thing I'm thinking, if I were to see something like this, if I were nosy enough to peer in, if they said no contact and they just want to leave the food at the door, I'm not going in their house. I'm not looking in their house. I'm going to give them privacy. But if I do look in and I see a woman or a man in that state, now I don't even know, because with people like this woman, you could be trying to help someone and they try to call the cops on you. But my first thing would be like, are you okay? Because that's not a normal way for someone to fall asleep. I know we've all done it, but usually it's because extreme exhaustion, or you had a freaking aneurysm while you were doing it. Do you need me to call the cops? Is everything all right? I wouldn't be peering in like, hey, I could see you have your chicken in your coop. I would stay at the door. I would knock and call out, everything okay? Are you breathing? But then again, it ain't my business if the guy told me to leave the food at the door. So what are you actually doing? Now, yes, like I said, I leave the bit open that he could have known and been like, I'm just gonna leave the door open so that they can see me. Because there are some people like that. Again, no way of knowing if this guy is that kind of person. Plausible deniability. So you can't very well be all Minority Report. I just started watching that movie, by the way. Didn't finish it. But anyway, and say this is for sure what he was doing. The other thing that people need to be aware of is there is a very clear difference. Remember I was talking about the clear differences before? So indecent exposure, which people are saying this would qualify as if the guy knew what he was doing. This usually falls under you knowing and willfully exposing your privates in public or in the presence of others to offend, shock, or gratify your own desires. And the important thing about this, when you look it up, is that the act needs to be intentional, which is very hard to prove. The person must know others can see them, and it's about exposure for the sake of your own gratification or to cause discomfort. So if the guy is asleep and didn't invite anybody in, and he said no contact and didn't intentionally expose himself for her to see, it wouldn't meet the definition of what indecent exposure is. But if the door was wide open, which we have no idea it was, there's no proof of that. She didn't walk up, it's very hard to do that because she would have walked up and been like, oh, look, but you still filmed him inside his house. But SA is different. That is intentional contact with someone, sensual contact with someone, or behavior towards someone else without their consent. Maybe you're forcing them, you're sliding up inside, or touching them, or forcing them to witness those kinds of acts. So it's directed at someone, and it's non-consensual, obviously. But one is contact, right? There's no contact, or it's not directed at her or anybody else, then that does not qualify as SA. Now, what she should have done was to leave. If she saw that if the door was in fact wide open, leave and report the situation to DoorDash or to the authorities if you suspect that this person is doing this on purpose. Especially if he has like a repeat pattern, like this is something that he does all the time. However, what doesn't help and what puts her in the wrong is that she violated his privacy. Even if the dude was in a very compromising or embarrassing situation, the fact still remains that he wasn't in public. He's inside his domicile. He is in his home where you stuck the camera in past the threshold to look at him. You put him up there. Like, he expects to be private, that he's gonna have privacy. Whether he's drunk, what happened, it doesn't matter. Whether he's that kind of person or not, he still expects some level of privacy. You're the one who recorded him without his consent while he was partially naked and posted it fully online. That's illegal. The only person who, if he gets a lawyer, you're the one going to jail because you're the only one who filmed yourself literally committing a crime. That is a gross invasion of privacy, and that is non-con or non-consensual distribution of intimate content that you then uploaded to platforms for other people to see. It's not like you uploaded it to the hub, you uploaded it to freaking TikTok, from my understanding, where there are kids on it as well. So you're kind of the criminal in the situation. Furthermore, if you are wrong and it turns out that the guy is like, shit, I was drunk and I passed out, doesn't matter if you think he's lying or not, we're looking at evidence, right? That's defamation and public shaming. You portrayed him as a deviant, publicly without proof, which could potentially destroy his reputation. And in the civil court, you are in the wrong, 100%. Not to mention, you also breached the platform's terms of service, which is why the video is deleted now, obviously. But you posted someone who could have potentially been a victim. Can you imagine if someone drugged him and took advantage of him and put him in that situation? Like, I always, unless I have evidence, I always question everything. Like, if something happened to me and, I told someone, yeah, there's no way of anyone believing that it actually happened. The difference is I didn't go to people, I didn't go to the authorities about it. But if I'm like 30 years later and I'm like, you know what, I just feel like doing it now. No, there's no evidence. You can believe me that it happened, but there's no actual evidence of it having happened. And the only reason in one of my cases that something was done about it, and it wasn't even me, it was because the person did it to someone else. He did it to another child. I was a kid. I was his niece. And he did it to other little girls. And they deported his ass. Thank God. And then he did it to his daughter and other girls down there too. So it helped that there was a repeat pattern with that they were able to put him away or at least say, hey, you need to leave. Get out. People who are against deportations, there's a reason why. If someone's committing a crime here and hurting people, then they don't deserve to be here. I'm sorry. Either that or you go to jail. And they gave him the choice. You can stay here and go to jail and be labeled as an SO, or you go back to your country and get out. And they deal with you there. And this case, unless this guy clearly has a history of doing this where I haven't seen anything of that nature, then still this guy is inside of his home. Like, I know there's some like drunk people who'll just fall asleep with their clothes off. Like, when they get drunk, they just take their clothes off. Like, they're not even aware that they're doing it. Is it stupid for them to constantly be getting drunk to that degree where they don't remember anything and they get to that point where there's zero judgment? Yes, it is. But if they're inside their own home, who am I to go inside their home and be like, you assaulted me in your own home because you were naked in your... No, stop doing this. You're taking away the resources from people who actually go through these things. They're much worse. Like actual people who are going through these things. It doesn't mean you're not allowed to feel offended, or you're not allowed to feel disgusted by it, or even, maybe report it to DoorDash, I guess. But to put this and make this an online issue and then screaming that you were SA'd, that's incorrect. You were offended and you were put in a situation that was grossly uncomfortable for you. Everyone understands it and agrees with that. But you screaming, I'm the victim here, in this case, based on the evidence at the time of this video, you're literally not.
Seeing people of color on TikTok saying, oh, you're defending a white woman about this whole DoorDash situation. You're defending a white man. Is that not worse?
Excuse me? What in the world? What does any of them being white have to do with anything? And if the white man is a victim, why is that worse? Like, people are literally blatantly racist on this platform and nobody cares. Jesus Christ. There's not a way to open a video. Good Lord.
If you don't know who I am, or if you don't remember who I am, I'm the one who made this video. Remember the one where I was like, in the beginning, oh, they found proof that the DoorDash guy actually has done this before, and then 30 seconds into the video, I was like, oh, that was a lie. Everything that I said was a lie. I just made it up, and you believe me because you believe things on the internet without checking them. Guess what? They found out that the story that I concocted and I was like just theorizing about was correct. He has been charged with disorderly conduct before and basically has done this before. The disorderly conduct was a demotion from the egregious thing that he did. And I know there's going to be people in the comments who are like, I believed her from the beginning, and they're being honest. And I know there's going to be people in the comments who are silent because they didn't believe her from the beginning. But y'all who did not believe her, who tried to make her seem crazy, who believed bots on the internet that some man just randomly passed out on his couch, ordered DoorDash before that, and then the doors somehow were open, or that she even went in through the doors. And you saw a video knowing the state of AI, knowing that we can't believe anything, and that all these accounts that were making videos that she opened the door when it's obvious that she couldn't have opened the door. Egg on your face. I'm not.
And since this person started out this video saying you can't believe everything you hear online, I would like to know what the source is. You would think that if he led the video with that he would at least give the source now for the updated supposed proof that this was done before. And regardless, what did he do before? Fall asleep like that? If he says leave it at the door, why are you peering inside the home? Leave it at the door. If I am ordered to have no contact and I go to someone's house, I'm not looking inside their house. I'm sorry. I don't care if the door is open, because there's some people who leave their doors open. They leave the screen doors locked. I'm doorbell and leaving. Unless they call me back to give me a tip or something, I'm leaving. I'm not looking inside your house. That's not my business. I might see something I don't want to see. What if someone's committing a crime and they're like, oh no, you got to go. You saw our face. No. Avert your eye. Respect people's privacy. And I would like to know the source that he got from this, because I don't see it. The only other source I'm seeing is from other people who have actually answered the door looking that way. Okay, so let's see here. It was updated on the 22nd versus New York. According to the national, 81% of women and 41% of men in the U.S. experience some form of sexual harassment or assault. I mean, he could also claim that she essayed him as well. He has a stronger case for that than anything. Yeah, there's nothing out there that I have found after reading this article and several others that shows that the guy has done this before. So just like this TikToker has made up and said that he made up that story, he quite literally could have fallen into the same trap of believing some other person's trust me bro source without any actual evidence. Where is the evidence? If you're making the claim that this happened, you need to provide the evidence so we can see it. So yeah, the takeaway from all of this is, even if the dude, his intent is unclear, you don't know if he actually meant to or not, whether he was actually asleep, pretending to sleep, purposely left the door cracked, it doesn't matter. There is no proof of intent. He can always claim plausible deniability if he is in fact guilty of this, saying he was asleep or unaware, because that's how it looked. His hand was literally over his eyes and he was lying down. And you came in, you looked inside of his house. He didn't ask you. It's not like he was at the welcome mat. It would have been quite different. I mean, still inside his house, but quite different if you had no choice, but you quite literally have to peer inside his house to see him on the couch. So this alone makes it kind of impossible to prove any wrongdoing on his part. And you lose all of that deniability as the supposed victim yourself as the woman by recording him without consent inside his private home and then posting it publicly to TikTok and other platforms. And by doing that, you turn an awkward or possibly suspicious encounter into an illegal act on your part, specifically invasion of privacy and public defamation. And even though she thought she was, I guess, exposing bad behavior, you had no evidence of intent and no legal right to film or share the footage. In court, your decision to upload it makes you the one liable for damages, not him. So you can very likely get sued for that. And it might suck, but you put yourself in that situation. I know I sound like I'm victim blaming, but you quite literally did film him inside his home when he literally told you, you even admitted it, that he said to leave the food at the door. Why are you looking inside the house? It doesn't matter if the door is open. You don't have to look inside someone's house. Just, you know, I don't understand Americans. Like, I don't know if this is a thing, but I know when I moved here, we used to watch movies, me and my mom. And the one thing that we never understood is how someone would come to someone's house and knock on the door and then try the door to open it and be like, hello, and come inside their house. A complete stranger's house. Is that a thing with Americans? Like, do other Americans do that? Like, do they just, you know, I'm just gonna look inside someone's house or just go inside someone's house because no one's answering? It's no contact. Someone told you to leave the food at the door, leave the food at the door and bounce. What are you doing? If anything, for your own safety as well. But anyway, maybe she was like, oh, he didn't give me a tip. I want a tip. I'm not saying she absolutely was thinking that, but I can't see any other reason for you trying to stay around. You're 100% in the wrong in this case. But anyways, what do you guys think? Maybe I'm being too harsh.